Goldberg has retired from professional wrestling after, a 28-year career? And I tell you, my friends, I thought it was absolutely excellent. Now, if you are a regular subscriber, sorry for putting 2 videos up on the channel, which YouTube does not like these days. But with Evolution also happening later, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to put one up early and one up later. Please go check out my AEW All-In review if you're into that as well. I'd much appreciate the support because it's probably going to totally screw up the algorithm. But what can you do, right? I want to make sure I get the content out there. One day, I want to get to a world where we can do this on a Tuesday and you still care what I think. At the moment, I still feel like we're in the reactionary phase, which is totally fine. Let's talk Goldberg, Saturday night's main event. Way too much wrestling this weekend for me. And I don't even mean that from a logistical point of view. I just would have loved it if a weekend could have been a whole celebration of Goldberg and a whole weekend could have been a celebration of All In. And that poor NXT show feels like it was sent out to die, but that's a different video for a different day. I don't really mind counter-programming, just in the sense it's business and that's what all corporations do, so we might as well accept it in sports entertainment as well. So let's focus on Bill, as I like to call him, my fake dad. This was brilliant. I seem to be the outlier here. Again, I know the negative Nancy's on the internet are always a bit louder, so you're never so sure which way the actual vibe is going. But I assumed, and I think we talked about this in the predictions video, it was going to be chop, 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 and then, what was it? I can't remember now. Spear, spear, jackhammer kick, chop, 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 choke out, pass out. So we got some of it right. But actually what we did instead is we worked Goldberg's leg. We worked his big knee brace that he had on, and we sold it wonderfully. And that tied into the finish. I genuinely thought this was very well mapped out, very well structured. The thing with Goldberg, and why I don't care if any wrestler wants to come back at 58 years old. I really don't. That's the beauty of wrestling, because it is predetermined. We don't have to sort of be confined by what would happen in regular sports, but he's just so intense, and you can believe everything he does. When he pushed Gunther down to start, I was like, man, this is so mad. I didn't think he was going to win, but should I have suspended my disbelief more, I probably could have entered that space, which is the worst thing I've ever said. Quick tangent as well, and again, small corner of the internet. Saw some people going, oh, he doesn't look as jacked as he used to be. 58 and he looks like that, you'd be so lucky, as Kylie Minogue once sung about. I mean, that is the stupidest criticism I've ever heard in my entire life. Usually I like to be like, oh no, more power to in your opinions. Stupid opinion, as Randy Orton once said. But obviously Goldberg starts up strong, Gunther's playing a coward just a little bit, and as soon as he realises, oh my gosh, that knee is janky, just goes after it, he works over it. The bit where he pulled the knee brace off, and he kind of went and danced around the ring, and he pushed Gage, Goldberg's son, off. That was awesome. Then you get back in the ring. You get the big spear. Don't forget Goldberg gone for one spear and hit the referee instead. Paul Charles Robinson having a terrible 2025 as he continually gets murked. But the spears look good, even though Goldberg's probably in all the pain in the world with all the issues that he does have that's been well documented. But it was the jackhammer, because picking up a man like Gunther is hard, right? Even if you're in your physical prime. But to do it almost 60 years old, that's the move. It's that and the spear, right? You have to have that in a Goldberg match. It looks so good. I was transported back to 1999. I'm going to say it, don't even care, got a bit emotional, because that is just so cool. Also because this is my wrestling nerd brain, because again, I do it myself. Check out my promo that we put on the channel the other day, and thank you very much for the kind words. I watched where Gunther was putting his hand to post. I know, we're breaking the fourth wall. No one needs me to do this, but we all know what the deal is. You could just see, he was like, I'm going up for you, brother. And that just made me feel so good, because they get it. They understand the moment, as WWE likes to say, that they wanted to give to the fans. And just everything here was awesome. Like, Goldberg, I think, has been accused of not being a good seller. Don't care. Don't care what he did do or he didn't do. The way that he reacted to his leg, and then the other referee comes out, because, of course, Charles Robinson was probably dead, and the 1-2 kick out, it was just so well done, and it was so believable. And it protected the jackhammer, of all things, in Goldberg's last match. Like, it really, really, really did. And then, of course, Gunther does sink in the choke. Goldberg passes out. I don't see what other finish it possibly could have been. I don't want to see him powerbomb Goldberg and get the victory there. I don't want to see Goldberg tap out. It's Bill Goldberg. When I'm watching him there, he's not 58, he's not 22, he's just Bill Goldberg, the entity that ever that is, the bald brother. And it's, for some reason, we've decided in wrestling that if you pass out in a move, you're a hero, where really you're smarter to tap out. Like, come on now. But it doesn't matter, right? It's all about context and the intent. And I don't think you could have done anything better. I think this was better than a boom, 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 you go match. I think it probably suited where Goldberg is in his life, and I mean that in a totally positive way. And this Gunther, flub me, do we have something with Gunther? I don't know what his plans are going forward. I saw I think it was a faux report that somebody threw out there, but they said that John Cena's last match could be against Gunther. You know what? Give it to him. Give it to him. The Pat McAfee thing, everything he's done with Jay, he is really special. I mean, if you were in the UK scene for a while, you knew that when he was Walter, but I don't want to say that you thought he had a ceiling, but given the way that he's transformed his body, and he's continued to evolve, I suppose, he's one of the best right now, as far as I'm concerned. Someone told me the other day, yeah, but he doesn't cut good promos. Did you hear the promos he cut against Gunther? I genuinely thought he was going to murder his entire family. Gunther is brilliant. He's no flaws in his game, as far as I'm concerned. And honestly, it was superb. The only issue was the ending when we cut off Bill Goldberg's speech, which some people have said, I've seen reports on social media, called it tear-jerking, like not a dry in a house, emotional. Somebody's got to post that online. And I understand it's nobody's fault. I think it tied into the Seth Rollins issue. They're on NBC. So they have a hard out. If you watch it on YouTube like me, yes, it is teeth-pulling how many adverts there are, and it ruins the experience entirely. But that needs to be put out there. Bill Goldberg's final speech, I'm a big Bill Goldberg fan. I would like to see it. And all we did see was he apologized. It made me laugh. Two things. He apologized because he never lost in Atlanta before. It's like, Goldberg, you barely lost ever. If you go through his win-loss record, he's got like 12 losses in his entire career, which is why he is such a beast. But I dared to say perfect. I don't mean to sort of push my two reviews together, but I think I said this on All In too, and if I didn't, forgive me. I thought everything we did, the spider on my floor, there you go. Everything we did between Moxley, Hangman and Page for what we were trying to do, perfect. I don't think I would have changed any of it. Not all to my personal taste because it got disgusting, but absolutely excellent. And sending Goldberg off, absolutely excellent. And when I do compare it to the Sting one, these are the two ends of the spectrum for me. If somebody has to win, you do it like Sting. If somebody has to lose, you do it like Goldberg. Genius. Bravo all round. Very happy with how legends are being treated in the modern day of wrestling. The problem being, and you rarely get this from me, but again, positivity doesn't mean lying. It means looking for the good in it. Didn't like the rest of Saturday Night's main event. Thought it was a poor show, if I'm totally honest. I don't mind Jelly Roll. I love talking about this so much. And Randy Orton taking on Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. How is the non-wrestler the one that's got the dumbest name in an industry full of ridiculous names? Either way, I like what Jelly Roll is doing. I think he's very committed. And Logan Paul is kind of showing that, not saying that he's learnt a lot, because I'm sure he did that a while ago, but he really is putting himself into this. You can tell they're both very committed. I'm a big fan. I just don't like the Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton stuff. Why do we do this match with Drew McIntyre return and lose? And he hit a Claymore, and Randy Orton didn't kick out, but he grabbed the bottom rope. I don't get it. And I know Drew McIntyre got distracted with interference and confusion. Why would Drew McIntyre, right, after what he done in 2024, give a damn if Logan Paul and Jelly Roll are having an argument? I didn't even like that at the start of the show, Drew McIntyre was Logan Paul. To me, Drew McIntyre exists on his own island. He doesn't hang out with other heels because he's a heel. He hates everybody, and he has just cause to do so. He wouldn't appreciate what Logan Paul, the wrestler, had been doing over the last few years. And listen, it's good for him. What's his real name? Drew Galloway. It's the kind of spots you want to be in. You're working with Jelly Roll, Logan Paul, you're going to get social media traction. That's going to be better for your own personal brand and all that nonsense. But from a nerd wrestling point of view, and I thought Randy Orton losing was better if it ties into his heel turn. But Randy Orton hadn't just come back, right? Drew McIntyre had just come back. I don't think you needed to do this match. You could set up the SummerSlam thing a different way. And WWE, the company that loves smozzes and loves disqualifications, didn't do that here. Those two couldn't have spilled in the ring and then a ride punch get thrown or whatever you want to call it. The referee throws it out. Listen, that's lame. I don't want to see Drew lose. Everything that he did in 2024 should have set him up for a proper main event run. And here it kind of felt like he was one step beneath that. You can change that in a couple of weeks, right? He could beat Randy Orton on Raw or whatever, or SmackDown, I guess. But that's just how I felt about it. I actually preferred the post-match that I did to the actual match itself, which is rare, but essentially they all had a big fight. Drew McIntyre claymoring Jelly Roll when he was bending down to check on Randy was excellent. Why the wrestling officials were mad, I do not know. So you started this Jelly Roll, you're throwing fists and saving Randy Orton. The SummerSlam match, meh. I mean, I just don't care. I don't mind, I should say. Don't care has emotion attached to it. Wrestling, in all its guises, has been having celebrities since, well, before the first WrestleMania. Muhammad Ali, there's been Drew Carey. I mean, there's been, Mr. T. Like, there's loads of people I'm going to forget about here. I mean, Lawrence Taylor main event at WrestleMania 11, was it? I think it was. So this is what we do on big shows. And I guess you can argue it's a shame because it's Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. But again, if they're trying to get into other industries, which they probably are, it's going to be of benefit. But it wasn't for me. That's all. And again, I wouldn't have necessarily called that beforehand, especially because Drew and Randy had a fine match. They didn't get a lot of time. But of course, it was an angle bout, right? It was to drive forward that SummerSlam match, which will probably be quite fun. I can take it or leave it, I guess, and that's the issue with it. And it was the same with Jimmy Uso versus Solo Sikoa. I don't think the build has been... It's weird, right? I love everything they're doing on SmackDown, but to get to this match, I don't think we had the right beats. I know that Jimmy won a couple of tag team matches and stuff, but the match felt like it came out of nowhere. Then he won another one on SmackDown. I probably would have reversed that. And I think what I'm mainly leaning into here is I just did not believe that Jimmy Uso could win. And I think if you're going to have a title match, 9 times out of 10, you can't do it all the time. Just put some seeds in place so that we can believe. Nobody believed that. I think we all knew that Jacob Fatu was going to come back. We all knew that Talatonga was going to be involved. And it was what really took something away from it, because the match was fine. It was the exact same finish as the first match, right? Drew McIntyre gets distracted, and then here it was Jimmy Uso that got distracted because everybody was having a big fight, and it was the roll up here, whereas the RKO in the first one. Then Jacob Fatu comes back and cleans house. That's fine. He probably will win back the championship at SummerSlam, Hot WrestleMania. Totally cool, but it was just there, and it didn't really have an impact on anything. And maybe it wasn't meant to. I don't know. I think maybe it was just an overall vibe that I got from this Saturday night's main event. If it'd been on its own weekend, I think it would have stood taller. It all just felt a little bit rushed. The second best segment on here was Naomi and Jade Cargill, who have one of the best feuds that we're not talking about enough. Like, we're seeing pictures or having footage of women in the crowd for Evolution later on. When we see Jade, Naomi just murks her. They have a big fight. But even this got a little bit, listen, I like it because I like goofy wrestling. But Nick Aldis says, right, you're having a no-holds-barred match. I knew you were going to run rampant, and therefore Bianca Belair's a special guest referee. It's like, you've got this the wrong way around. You put them in a no-holds-barred match so they could get this all out of the system. You can have any referee because the referee's meant to let them do whatever they want. Now, listen, the nerd geek part of me, of course Bianca Belair should be on the show. One of the most important women in that entire division, and what she's done is second to none. Logic-wise, gibberish. So you can take that or leave it for what it was. And then the Seth Rollins LA Knight thing is just sad, right? I mean, that literally, not like, oh man, completely sad. I mean, emotionally sad. The last thing we want is Seth Rollins suffering a knee injury. Some people, I should have said this more on ups and downs, but I'll say it here so I can protect myself. Although I don't care about being worked. I watch wrestling to be tricked. It's a con. So if it does turn out this is a con, so that when Seth Rollins cashes in his briefcase, we're like, oh, I can't believe it. Awesome. You got me. You pulled the wool over my eyes. That's your job. You did a terrific job. Thank you very much for taking me along for the ride. I'm just worried because it's that dodgy knee. I mean, it's the greatest sell ever. If it's, what's the word? Work, I guess. I can't think of a better way to put it. But I've listened and I've read a few things, and the backstage vibe is that it's real, and a few people have said I'll be very upset if it's not real because I've clearly been lied to and they must be close to Seth. At the same time, if you are trying to create something that's very 2025 and very meta, you'd have to lie to some people. I would rather err on the side of caution and assume that it is legit, and therefore send all the best wishes to Seth Rollins and just hope there's nothing serious and he can come back in a few months or a couple of months, or even weeks, I should say, days, as opposed to being out for the rest of the year. And Liv Morgan thing, I suppose, who needed surgery. Surgery is always the thing you want to avoid for obvious reasons. But as a man that kind of willed himself through WrestleMania 40 and had to have so much work done to that leg, well, you get a bit worried, right? You turn into his dad. Not that he needs that from me. Well, again, let's pretend that it was part of the story. It's one of the greatest, what's the word I'm looking for, structured things they've ever done. Like, he sells off to the corner, he talks to Paul Heyman, he talks to the referee. Certainly sounds like to me, he says, just tell LA Knight to hit the BFT and pin me 1, 2, 3. If it is legit, what a selfless thing to do. Seth Rollins knows that I'm going to be away for a while. Kind of like what Willow Nightingale and Mercedes Moné did. Didn't Phoenix and John Moxley do it too? Maybe. I may have that wrong. But if he feels like this is bad, I felt it before, I know my body, give LA Knight the win. That's cool wrestling in a very bad situation, but obviously I'd rather we never got there. So yes, I'm going to play it now as if it is real because I don't want to be that other guy. And if I am, great. Wrestling did its job. But worrying, because the rumor was him versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. That's a match we've been talking about here on the channel for ages. Everybody wants that, because that really would have jeopardy. Who the flub wins? And of course, the Money in the Bank stuff, everything with Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. Not that it matters, because health is more important, but because we are a wrestling-focused channel, I think that you just go all in on Bron Breakker. That's what I would do. I'd somehow get him in the briefcase, he cashes in, he wins. Just whatever he was going to do over the next 6 months, do it in 6 weeks. I know that sounds ridiculous, but sometimes needs must, and you have to sort of, turn on the fly. I would have a problem with it. I think he's talented enough to be able to deal with that, and he's over enough with the fans. He has that connection, which is only going to grow. But this is all irrelevant stuff. It doesn't matter. Same with Adam Cole. More best wishes to that guy. All best wishes to Seth Rollins. You never want to see it. I hope it's not going to change anything. It'd be nice if it reminds everybody how dangerous wrestling is and why we shouldn't go, oh man, what a botch. Shouldn't it be more like, oh, that's an error. Thank goodness they're okay. Because look what can happen. I think, I could be wrong here, but it felt like this was the same combo as a springboard senton, I think, into a lion salt, essentially. I think that's the same combo that he did when he hurt his knee against Jinder Mahal. It's the only reason I'm like, oh man, is that why he's doing it? And listen, Seth Rollins, man, is 100%. He's all in, which is somewhat ironic for me to say today. But he's not going to hold back on anything. When he does come back and it is real, maybe don't do that again. Just stay away from it. It's not worth it. We don't need it. Seth Rollins is so over. He could do nothing. He could play chess and he'd still get a reaction. But the point is, took away from that match. LA Knight won, but everybody was just talking about the Seth Rollins injury. So that's another reason I can't believe it was fake, for lack of a better term, because wins. I'm not even sure it helped LA Knight. I mean, I guess you didn't beat him. Depends what the follow-up is. But that as well, along with everything else, I was like, I don't want to say it was a bad show, Saturday Night's main event, but I wasn't as buzzed as I usually am at the end of a wrestling event. And it could be because I'm a bit burnt out. You know, I'd already sat through 6 hours of probably more than that, because I watched Ring of Honor and I watched NXT. So maybe it just came at a bad time, which is why the WWE, AEW stuff, when they do sort of compete like this, well, I guess it's more WWE, can be a bit much, but totally saved by the Goldberg thing. And Naomi and Jay Carville, got to throw that in there too. I really like Goldberg versus Gunther. I think it was, special's probably a bit strong, but just ticked every single box that I wanted it to as a big Goldberg fan. And now I can draw a line under it and say goodbye in my own special way, because he was the dude. I think I've talked about this now a couple of times. He was the dude where I was like, man, I want to watch Raw, but I think Goldberg's on Nitro right now. I'm just going to tune in a little bit, because he was awesome and he was cool and he was different. I get in later years, we've learned he was kind of murking some people for real, but I don't want to get into that now. As a child, I was enjoying what I was seeing on my television screen, and that's all I could have asked for. So, I mean, I would just watch that. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube still. I don't know where it is in America. Probably on Peacock, I guess. But I really wouldn't watch anything else on that show, unless you really like Jelly Roll. And Jelly Roll's doing very well. Like, he really is. He's won me over in 2 shows, just because of the way he approaches all of this. But I did feel like, I think WWE's been on an awesome roll from my vantage point. I know I can't talk from anybody else. I even like, listen, WrestleMania 41 was hit and miss. But before Travis Scott came out, I even liked John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, because I just thought it was, John Cena doing his heaters, punches and kicks was I get into it one day. I thought it was wonderful. But then it does go totally, you know, with no Dwayne Johnson as well. But this was the first one I was like, this is a miss show. I don't mind it when it's a Raw or SmackDown, because you get them every week. But I think even though they are TV specials, I think they usually need to raise the bar a bit. I didn't think this one did. Not bad, but he stretched the imagination. Dull, maybe. It's not the right word I'm looking for. Maybe uninspired, apart from the Goldberg stuff. We should have just made it a 2-hour Goldberg tribute show and done that match. And that way we could have got the speech in there too, which was a shame. There's not even that much else to say about it, so I'll pass the floor over to you. Drop me a comment below and let me know what you think. Like the video, share the video, subscribe. All in review right there. I don't care if you watch it. Click it and leave. I had to rush it as well to get this one done, which is a shame. I had more to say. But that's what ups and downs of what culture is all about. You can always get more of my thoughts if I missed something over there. Please subscribe to both of us. Otherwise, patreon.com/simonmiller316. We're going to do the All In 2023 event, which now in hindsight, Adam Cole's in that, so there's some emotional to it. Didn't even intend that, obviously, when I put it up there, but it is winning in the poll at the moment. GrillAndMine.com/Simon deals all of the time. Use that code Simon. Money will come off. I promise you, it ships worldwide. It's the best. It will help you in your fitness training. Simon316 on social media. Simon Miller on Cameo, personalized videos, birthdays, etc. Simon J. Miller on TikTok, and Pro Wrestling Tees and Big Cartel for a lot of bald wrestling t-shirts. Otherwise, I will say I could rest, but no, I've got a few hours until we'll do Evolution. I'm sorry that I'm spamming your feeds and I'm all up in your rectum. That's a terrible thing to say. You see, I'm sleep deprived now. I guess I'll see you soon.